welcome back. My name is Michelle, and this is what my Friday morning looked like. I didn't have dishes to do on this day, not many to worry about, so I'm getting me and Aubrey's coffee done, and I'm getting her vitamins, and getting Bo's medicine ready, and then he had asked for some French toast sticks for breakfast and pizza rolls to bring to school for lunch. So I get all of that going in the air fryer. He did end up bringing the pizza rolls for lunch, but he was not hungry for the French toast sticks. So I just slipped those into a Ziploc bag and stuck them back in the ice box for him to eat later. So the other thing I do on this morning is I had a lot of already cut up okra from my daddy's garden and a couple of bags that I had bought about a year ago, before I had some from the garden in the freezer, and I needed to cook all that to make space in the freezer. So I take it all and put it cooking in my 2 crock pots. We usually cook it like in the oven in a big roasting pan, and it takes hours to cook it down and get all the slime out. But it's just too hot for that right now, and so of course I ran to Pinterest because I thought, I wonder if I can do this in my Instant Pot, and you probably can. But just because I knew that it is a long, slow process in the oven, I thought, let me check out if you can do it in the slow cooker. So sure enough, I found one pin about it, and she says to cook it on high until it reduces down to about half, and then you put it on low, and then you cook it 12 to 18 hours, stirring every 30 minutes to be sure that it's not sticking in your crock pot. And she does mention adding a little bit of water if you need to, but so I decided to give that a try. Also, while I was in the freezer, I decided to take out a beef roast for supper, which I don't cook my beef roast like roast because that does not come out good to me. I buy chuck tender roasts from Walmart, and I thinly slice them, like against the grain, I guess you'd say, and I brown up both sides of the meat in about 2 to 3 batches, however many it takes in the pot. You don't want to overcrowd your pot, and it just makes the most delicious gravy. And it may take a couple of hours on like a medium low heat, with the lid on your pot, but it is so tender when it's done. It can't be beat. So my son had requested rice and gravy, so I took that out for him, which at the time we did not know that he would not be home on this night. So I actually haven't even cooked it yet. I'll be doing that tonight for supper. But as far as the okra in the crock pot, because I was gone a lot of this day, I did turn it off because I didn't want to leave it cooking. With it being my first time, I wasn't sure how it was going to go, and so I didn't want to leave that cooking while I was gone for several hours. So I did turn it off while I was gone, and then later this evening, we brought Bo to my daughter Shani's house, and so I turned it off again. And by the time we got back from doing all that, it had done cooled down a good bit. So I'm hoping that doesn't like mess up, food safety and all that. I'm sure the okra is still fine. I put it in the ice box overnight, and I stuck it in the crock pots first thing this morning and turned them back on. And we had to leave again because I rode with my husband to come and talk to a homeowner about a job that he's starting tomorrow. and he wanted me to ride with him, so I figured I'd do this voiceover in the car. But it dawned on me that rather than turning them off, to just turn it on to low so it would still keep its heat. And when I get back home, I'll just turn them back on to low and let them cook all day. And then, it should be cooked down enough to then refreeze it into quart-sized Ziploc bags and then use it however we want. I love okra smothered down plain, but I also like it smothered down and stirred into like tomatoes. Rotel would be good. Just regular diced tomatoes would be good. Any, whatever, choose your preference. I also like okra gumbo. So we also do like boiled okra, so when my daddy picks from the garden, we always take the smaller ones and put them aside, freeze them separately, and then you just throw them into a pot with some seasoning and boil them until they're, fork tender. Oh man, so good. And then also, of course, fried okra. But I did keep some in the freezer already cut up for frying. I obviously did not cook that down because once it's smothered, you're limited on what you can do with it, obviously. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to see how this okra does come out, because I know I'll be getting more this year when my daddy starts picking. And I also have some fresh green beans from last summer that or whenever, I don't know when it was that we got them, but they're all snapped and in the freezer. The first couple of messes he gave me, I cooked them down completely and then divided them up and froze them. But if you can't completely cook it, like if you just blanch it, and this is my opinion, if you just blanch your green beans before you freeze them, when you go to cooking them, they do not cook the same. And that is just my experience, and my opinion. If you have better experience, well, then that's fine. But for me, it doesn't work out. Same thing with cabbage. If I'm going to cook my cabbage down a little bit just to freeze it, it will never cook right once you take it back out of the freezer. There's too much moisture in it. So I just cook my cabbage completely. We'll have whatever we're having that night with our supper as a side, and then I'll split it up and put it back in the freezer, and then I can just have it as a veggie side, or if I make my unstuffed cabbage rolls, well, then I have my cabbage already cooked and I just dump it in. So anyway, I done got onto a tangent of how to cook your vegetables before you freezing them. Anyway, I have a lot of green beans in the freezer that are not cooked, and so I do need to cook those as well. But I'm kind of scared to try it in the crock pot and mess them up. I might try like a little batch and see how it comes out. I have done them in the Instant Pot before, but I will admit that they don't come out the best in the Instant Pot because they get, like, I just overcooked them is what happened. You hungry? Come on over, you have to eat out here. And you're going to put that in your booksack and zip it?
What?
Your lunch bag.
No.
Or your booksack is not zipped.
Who owns it? Probably me. Kitty, kitty.
Where's the other babies?
Where did this truck come from?
That's the truck. Oh, that's where that truck came from. Well, obviously you know the jewelry, but I guess you don't know where did it come from. food. I ain't coming out here. Go eat, little girl.
Mom, the only way the gray one's gonna come out is if we're all over here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, she's coming.
She broke them. Put them up there.
Oh my
I said put them up there.
god! There's ants all over here too.
Well, that's because it all needs to be cleaned up. Huh?
Almost dropped.
Well, don't do that yet. Yeah. So here is when I actually put the okra cooking in the crock pots. I already have my meat defrosting in the sink, and you know, it wasn't long after this. The kids have already left for school, and my husband has already left for work too, I believe. I'm actually not positive. But it's not long after this that I do leave to go have coffee with my mama for a few hours. And then because Haley did not come with me grocery shopping on the previous day because of the electrical fire that I told y'all about in the Walmart, and being told that the checkout process was going to be so long and tedious, because she didn't come on that day, she was like, well, next time you come. And I said, well, you know, I'm home alone, because my husband finally, like, he hasn't worked in 2 weeks, like, man, well, I'm not even going into that. But anyway, he had some deliveries to make for some jobs that he will be starting tomorrow. So I was home alone, and I said, well, I'm going to go have coffee with Mama, and then I will come pick you up, because I had a few more things that I needed to get, and I said, I'll bring you to do what you have to do, you know, while the kids are in school and Daddy's at work and all of that. So that is what I did on this day. And then here I'm back home, folding the clothes. The kids are about to walk in the door. And then, you know, I hadn't started cooking yet, because, like, after this, I was like, you know what? I haven't started cooking yet, but because, you know, it's Friday and we don't have to worry about the kids getting to sleep early, we'll go ahead and, I'll take me a little nap before I cook supper. And so I hadn't cooked yet, and well, Aubrey ended up going to her friend Blair's, and Bo went to his sister Shaney's. And so I was like, we'll just eat what we can find. But we did end up going to the Dairy Barn and getting, my husband got a burger and fries, and I got a shrimp dinner with onion rings. And we went home and we ate, and we watched a couple of shows that we had on the DVR that we were behind on. And then, like the good old people that we are, we went to bed nice and early. Anyway, I folded the clothes. I have my towels in the dryer that I end up folding later on after my nap and all that. Then I go and put up the kids' clothes in their rooms. I actually did not put up me and my husband's clothes. Well, he grabbed his and put them up. Mine are still in the basket. But they're folded at least. And then, you know, that was about it for... I'm like an old person, y'all. And I say old, I don't mean any disrespect by that, but I have to take a nap every day, okay? I'm tired, and I just, like, I have chronic fatigue syndrome. Not necessarily an official diagnosis. I was told it could be that or narcolepsy, but the medicines that I take for my depression and stuff is what they would prescribe me for narcolepsy, and it doesn't help the tiredness. I also have sleep apnea. I sleep with my CPAP machine every night. That does not help either. So anyway, I'm tired and I have to have a nap every day. So after all this right here that you're seeing, I go lay it down and take my nap. This is how the okra is looking at this point. And then I think the next clip will show you what it's looking like as of now, even though right now it's turned on to warm since we're not home. But anyway, I'll let y'all know how this comes out. I but it's looking a lot better already. So I'm definitely thinking that by the end of today, it should be cooked down enough so that I can bag it up and throw it in the freezer. And anybody who knows anything about okra will know that even though this started out as 2 full crock pots, it will cook down to hardly anything. So that's going to give me a lot of room in the freezer for when my daddy starts sending me more stuff.
Every change has a reason, baby, let it come to you. Every soul, every season lives outside of status quo.
So this is supper. I had a chuck tender roast in the freezer that I defrosted the day before. And so I took it out and let it come to room temperature. And I sliced it thinly and browned it in 3 batches. That way I didn't want to overcrowd my pot. And then while that's browning, I had 4 onions, I believe, that I diced up to put into the freezer. And some of that was to use on the next day when I fried some Shupik patties, because we like diced onions, bell peppers, celery, and green onions in our Shupik patty meat. I also had added some hot peppers from Daddy's Garden into that, but I didn't have it in the onions and stuff. I just cut my onions and threw that all together with the bell peppers and green onions and threw that into the freezer for the next day. Um, Also, see, that's the onions. I had 4 onions, I believe, and then after I cut all my onions, I started trying to kind of get a good even mix going on. But I ended up using nearly that entire quart-sized bag full of cut up onions and bell peppers and green onions in the Shupik patties. So after I get this all mixed up, kind of evenly, I do start putting it back into the 1 quart size bag that I want to use for my shoe pick. And then the rest of it I just put into a gallon size freezer bag and stick it in the freezer. So now whenever I'm cooking, I'll have already cut up onions and bell peppers to throw into my gravies. I do usually like to keep the store-bought seasoning blend on hand because sometimes I just don't feel like cutting the onions. But I figured I had a ton of bell peppers in my freezer from Daddy's Garden, so I was like, I will just cut these onions up and make my own seasoning blend instead of, constantly buying seasoning blend, and as well as just onions for whenever I want just onions, and leaving the bell peppers just chilling in the freezer. So I decided to just go ahead and do it this way. So this quart size bag, I used most of that in the Shupik patties. And then what is left, like I said, I put it into a gallon size freezer bag and stuck that in the freezer for whenever I'm gonna need it. Well, y'all, I'm gonna close this video out now, If you like this kind of video and you aren't already, please consider subscribing. My name is Michelle if you're new here, and I just like to do the same kind of videos that I like to watch. So I like cooking and cleaning videos. I do like grocery hauls and shopping with me. I like a little bit of all that, decluttering and organizing type videos. So I just figure if I make what I like to watch, then that it makes me happy to do that. If I was making videos strictly based off of what I think other people might want, then I might not find those videos as fun to make. So, although I do want to satisfy the folks, that's why I'm doing this, is to build this little community. But anyway, give this video a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. This is what it's looking like right now. It's been cooking on low about 4 hours, I guess. I had actually took some out to cook down, but then my niece distracted me and I added a cup of water to it, so I just dumped it back in. And I have this one right here. Gonna finish cooking down so we can have with our supper.
Watch that too.